Hey there, lovely people. Welcome to Be Your Best You with Tash and Becky, your go-to hangout for all things spiritual, subconscious, and downright magical. We're here to sprinkle a little mystical wisdom into your everyday life and help you level up your reality.
Picture this as your cosmic coffee date, where we chat about the unseen world, blend in some psychology vibes and stir up the subconscious magic. Get ready to be the queen of your own reality, live a life that lights you up and have a blast doing it.
So grab your latte or your tea and let's dive into another episode of Be Your Best You, where the mystical meets the mundane and your best life awaits.
Cheers to creating magic together.
Let's do this.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Be Your Best You with Tash
and Becky, the guest edition. And today we've been speaking to Empress Sparkle.
She is a psychic, energy healer, tarot reader, and most interestingly, she can see your soul. We're not going to say too much more about this. I want you to listen to the episode. This has been such an interesting conversation, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think everyone's really going to enjoy this and the magic behind it.
Yeah.
And just listening to a different perspective of what we talk about a lot, isn't it?
There were so many similarities between what she does and how she sees the soul and what I do with the work with the hypnotherapy and the subconscious mind. It's fascinating, and I think it will give you a really good insight into seeing yourself in a more energetic way, but in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed, guys.
Yeah.
Psst. Hey guys, can we ask you a favour?
Can we ask, if you haven't already, please make sure that you're following us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you can get updated with all the latest episodes every week when they come out. You never know, it might just be the thing that you need to hear at that time. Also, don't forget you can watch us on YouTube, so make sure you head over there and subscribe to us there.
And share with all your friends.
Thanks, guys.
And today we have on the show Empress Sparkle. Welcome to the show. So
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me, ladies. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
We're so excited to speak to you because, we don't know very much, guys, but what we do know is that Empress Sparkle sees souls. So we're excited to speak more into this. But before we go into all the details, could you just tell us a little bit about you, who you are, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I'm Empress Sparkle. I'm a Hellenic pagan, but I also see souls. I'm an energy healer and I'm a tarot reader. They're sort of more or less my specialities is where I'm going to word it. So yeah, that's what I do really.
Amazing. So, okay, first of all then, I need to...
Are you going to just jump straight into the soul?
No, I'm going to say that. I'm interested. So what did you say, a Hellenic pagan?
Yeah, Hellenic pagan.
Can you tell us a bit more about what's that?
So I worship the Greek gods. So I do a lot of work with the Greek gods. And so my main god is Apollon and Artemis. But I which you can sort of see behind me, I worship a lot of them. Just purely because of the fact people don't realise is they all have their different areas that they're actually good at. So I do spells for them. I sort of speak to them, divination and stuff like that.
Amazing. I've always loved the Greek gods. I've just got like a real affinity with them. I've always wanted to kind of read about them, and I find them, like you said, they have their different strengths, don't they, that you can. Yeah. So Artemis, is she wisdom?
No, that's Athena. Athena is wisdom. So Artemis is a goddess of moonlight. So I will say that because everyone puts her as a goddess of the moon, especially with the new Wiccan ways, a lot of people put her as a goddess of the moon, but she's actually the goddess of moonlight, bringing moonlight, which goes with her twin brother Apollon, who is the god of bringing sunlight. So they are sort of like, and then we have obviously our main god and goddess of the moon and sun, which is Helios and Selene. So it's sort of like she is the goddess of Hun. She's also the goddess of protecting women before they lose their chastity. So she's also the goddess of that. She's the goddess of wild as well. So I think that's where I really connect with her, like the wild countryside. I just love being out there and stuff. She's also good for other things that people don't realize. So she's good at understanding like vegetation. So she's quite helpful with that way as well. So when you're doing sort of herbs and spells and stuff like that, I sort of speak to her now and again and I say, oh, is this the right one? Because I don't think people realize that sometimes when we're using herbs in spells, sometimes they don't seem to realize that actually that herb may not be quite right for what we're doing, if that makes sense. So she's absolutely amazing. Most of the Greek gods are amazing, to be honest. I'm massively pro Greek gods. I'm like, come over to the dark side.
I think, I think sometimes with the Greek gods, it can be a bit scary, can't it? Because it's like there's some dark stuff in the myths of the Greek gods and stuff. You're like, wow, God, really?
Of course there is.
Yeah. The thing is with the myths, and this is actually something that frustrates me. A lot of people take the myths as literal, and I'm like, we're not to take them literally, because what people don't realize is, unlike the Bible, they sort of put the Bible where it's actual stories of people and presents and stuff like that. They're actually personas. So things like when it talks about in the Iliad that Apollon come down Mount Olympus with his bow, and people visualize that he was actually there with his bow, but he wasn't. It was the fact, the invisible force, his energy. So we have to think of them as energy. And sadly, a lot of people put human thoughts onto them, and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't put human thoughts, human emotions. They can be vicious and jealous of each other, even with their energies. I will admit that one. I had it with Artemis at one point. I felt a connection more with Nyx. So I was more praying to Nyx at one point, and I could feel Artemis sort of go, how dare you leave me out? And it was a bit like, oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I will add you in. I'll figure a way to put you into my next spell. So they can be a little bit jealous in that sense, but I feel like that's because they get their power from being worshipped. So a lot of it is about being power from being worshipped. They don't like negative stuff as well. So where people put, especially Hecate, a lot of people put on her doing hexes and curses. They actually don't like that negative stuff. So sometimes you'll sort of feel that in their energy. Like if they feel something's a bit negative in a spell you put them through, you can feel that they're a bit like, do I actually want to do this? And actually, if we look at the myth of Prometheus with Zeus, the way Zeus was actually tricked by the humans, they don't like the negative behavior. Everyone's like, oh, it's because Zeus is a big bad. And it's like, no, actually, if we read into that correctly, they were tricking Zeus. They were manipulating his love for them by giving him bad food, by Prometheus stealing fire when we were being punished. You know, I says we have to think of it as we are a small child. If you've told your child off and took away their tablet, 10 minutes later, you ain't going to go and give their tablet back and go, it's okay here.
Yeah.
You know, and he wanted us to learn that wasn't okay behavior to trick me. If you want me to help you, then I need you to love me as I love you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's so funny you brought up the story of Prometheus, because that's the one that I was actually thinking of. That always stuck with me, with the story of Prometheus, and because he loved humans, didn't he? He really loved.
Well, he made us.
Yeah, and then he gave us the fire, and he shouldn't have done it. So, and then he got punished. Didn't Zeus? What did Zeus do to Prometheus?
So Zeus placed him on a mountain to have his liver eaten by an eagle for eternity, but he was saved in the end. But there's more to that story. So everyone remembers that bit, but they don't seem to remember what Prometheus did. Right. So, which is the frustrating thing. So basically, Prometheus made us out of clay. With Athena, Zeus, and Prometheus, we got our energy, our souls. So they gave us our souls. And then basically Prometheus and Athena sort of got a bit of an obsession with us, is the way I'm going to word it, trying to give us wisdom and trying to teach us stuff, and trying to guide us. But Zeus said we cannot have the power like gods until we've earned it. And basically they were meant to teach us how to worship the gods as well. And one day we went to give bull meat to Zeus, and basically they put all the rubbish and covered it with a pile of good. So they tried to trick Zeus. So Zeus took away fire, because obviously we need fire to be able to cook our meat so we can actually eat it. So Zeus actually removed fire as a punishment to us, to say, well, hold on, you've worked with Prometheus to trick us. That's not okay. So they actually he took it away to give us sort of like a bit of a punishment. You know, I don't think he would have took it away forever, but it was just to say, no, we don't do that. And sadly, Prometheus went up to Hephaestus' fire, which is always burning, which Hester looks after, and stole fire from obviously the Olympian gods. So it's sort of like a double whammy towards Zeus. Like, it's just sort of like massively offensive to him. You've tried to give me the rubbish, you've tried to give me the entrails, you've tried to give me all the bull crap, basically. And then you've then encouraged to be still fire. So it's like just double whammy to him. So yeah, everyone doesn't realise the start of that story.
Yeah, no, and I think that because we all learn about Greek myths and stuff in school, don't we? But when I've kind of dug into the Greek myths, or I've looked at them again through now like more of a spiritual perspective, I appreciate them for, like you said, we take them literally, but it's not. It's like an allegory. It's a way for us to understand certain things, isn't it? And lessons. And it's done in quite a savage way. But I think, when you don't take them so literally, you see the underlying lessons behind it. Yeah, and also I just find it really interesting because the kind of the Greek gods are one side, but you can look at all the different ancient stories and cultures, and they all kind of seem to tell the same stories, which I really love, because you get to choose. So if you resonate with the Greek gods, then you can you can do that, or if you resonate with a different kind of mythology, it's all saying the same message. And I've really noticed that, and I love that. A lot of people will talk about angels and stuff, and if that resonates with you, then that's great too. But I think it's the message behind it, isn't it?
It's the message behind it. But my daughter also has a theory. She's severely autistic, and she's actually more obsessed with me than me with the Greek gods. The reason why I worship the Greek gods is because they're actually the oldest in existence. So they are one of the first we can find, other than Hinduism and some of the Japanese shamanship. So the reason I sort of worship them is because of that, because I need a name, and I will admit this. And my daughter, bless her heart, I love her to pieces, because she just said to me one day, she went, "Mummy, you know how all the stories are the same?" And I went, "Yes, baby girl." She went, "You do realise chaos is the main god?" And I looked at her and I went, "What?" She was like, "Chaos means the universe." And I was like, "Yes, baby girl." She went, "So all these angels," she says, like Hermes matches with Cupid. She was like, Aries matches with Archangel Michael. And I'm looking at her going, I think I know where you're going with this, and I've never actually realised it. And she's like, they just tell the story different, so everyone believes in it.
Yeah. Wow.
And I looked at her and I went, wow. I just went, and it sort of stunned me, because when you actually look at it, you can see how in every religion they just do tell the story different for everyone to believe. I think the only thing for me personally is the reason why I come away from majorly from Christianity is because they seem to have turned their back on the spiritual side of it. Like, I don't mean that rudely to anyone, but I just feel like they've turned their back massively on the spiritual side. But yeah, she just literally come out with that one day, and I was just like, that is perfect.
I mean, I just love that, because obviously I could come to that conclusion, because I just research everything, and I'm interested in everything, and I'm really good at recognizing patterns. So I've seen that. But when a child says it, you just know, like, she's onto something. She knows something. Yeah.
But she is a pure white light. So she is a pure white light. The gods and goddesses literally love her. She is literally, she could ask them for anything and they'd be like, yes, yes. She is literally the most pure white light. But yet she's not like us all, even though she knows she is. She doesn't actually practice or anything, because she does have a fear of the dark stuff that we can see and stuff. Because when she was younger, she would pull in, she's like a ghost magnet. So she will pull in any bad energy.
They see her light.
Yes.
This
is one of the things that's really difficult when you're white souled, is you find that darkness wants to come in on you, because this is one thing that actually I am going to mention them, which I shouldn't do. Ed and Lorraine have wrong about the feeding on fear. They don't want to feed on fear, they want to feed on your white light. And that is what they want, because they want the world dark.
Well, now, so because we've kind of transitioned into the whole soul thing, haven't we? So let's start off. So you say that you can see souls. So just tell us more about that. What does that look like when you can see souls?
So I can literally see everyone's energy. So the way everyone sees auras, which is basically, our auras are just a top line. What people don't realize, I actually can see the soul. So I can see further within someone. So what it is this is the energy that you've been given by the universe. So our soul is our energy, which is given to us by the universe. And sadly, they do come in white, grey and black. So it's sort of like depending on the person and who they are, which is another reason why I went to Greek mythology, because they actually discuss this, and they all the oracles used to be able to see souls as well. So it's a really strange feel. Sometimes some people are so closed off, I can only feel the energy of them,
rather than see it.
Yeah, but like with you two now, I can actually see it. So it's like, so you're both very white souled, so which is nice. Which is why I think I'm finding myself quite chatty. I'm like, so it's like really like it's a really hard to explain thing, because it's like, whereas auras are all the way around a person, this actually seems to come from our heart chakra, sort of where our heart chakra should be. And it's like, it gives me a cord and stuff, and sort of I can see.
Wow. And so when you say you can see, do you see it in your mind's eye, or can you see it as if it's here?
Depends how spiritual they are. So there has been times where, even with myself personally, people have gone, oh my goodness, Amy, I can literally see your soul, like you've got a white light around you. So even for me at times, there is times where it just looks like a light round them. There either be like the aura, a white light sort of round you, or a grey light, or a black light. I also can see it from the chakra sometimes. So your protection spells, can I just say, are amazing, ladies, because I literally can see it as slightly from your slightly in front of your chest, and that's it. Which is amazing, because someone like me can affect your protection quite badly. If I sit there sometimes and I'm like, if someone like me wanted to go to the dark side, it'd be dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And then basically sometimes it's in the mind's eye. So when someone's fully closed off, so I find it a lot with like Jehovah Witnesses, Mormons, Muslims, because they're very closed off to this sort of thing. It has to be mind's eye. So it sort of depends really on how spiritual the person is, and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
That's fascinating. So, okay, then, with the, like you said, with the protection thing that you can see, what do you mean by that? So, the fact that we have our protection in place, because tell us more. I'm confused. Like, I want to
No.
know.
Right. So basically, I don't know if you do the meditation with white light up, surround yourself. Yeah. So that's what I thought you were doing. So basically what you're doing with that, and what people don't realize they're doing, because it's not explained to us very well. We're just taught to bring this white light up and put it round us. No one actually explains to us why. But what that white light does when we actually put it round us is actually form a barrier of protection. And basically what that's doing for you now is, even like now, if I wanted to connect with you both, it would actually stop me dead. So it should stop me dead from being able to, until you welcome me in. So you know how when you go for Reiki or something like that, they tell you you've got to welcome them in. That is the reason why, because you've got your white light up naturally already protecting you. So it's not even protection spells or anything, it's actually ourselves.
And how would we welcome you in? Like, how would we?
So for some, it's very, very different. So for some people, they can just say, yep, you're welcome in. Some people, I can literally come past a barrier because they aren't doing enough. I don't mean it rudely. They're not doing enough to keep that white light up. For some people, it can literally be like a proper rejection. So it's like I'm coming up against an invisible wall. And they will have to say to their spirit guides, so not even just me, you may allow them in, because it'll be their spirit guides that are actually also helping to keep that white light up. Some people can say it just by going, I consent to having you in. Some people, they literally have to work on letting that guard down. So like for myself, I have to really work on letting that guard down. But it's different for everyone. I think this is one of the things that I do love about the spirituality side of things. It is very different for everyone.
I think that's such a great point that you've brought that up, because I think that protection is really important, isn't it? Just in general, for even just for any energies coming in, and it's nice to hear that are working, because I'm always
We do try.
Yeah, we really do, and it's a thing. But I think as well, like what I've found as well for the protection side of things, for me personally, is I do always do the protection, and I bring through the white light, and I have my own way of doing it. Obviously, it always starts off with the white light protection, doesn't it? But I like to make it my own and make it like mean something to me. But I think it's because I always have the intention, and I've done it subconsciously. I don't know whether you know, but I'm a hypnotherapist as well. So I work with like the subconscious mind a lot, because I like to bring the subconscious into the spiritual. And I've found that it's really helped with my spiritual practices. And this is why I'm saying this for the protection, because that's one of the places that I've done it. I always have this intention set in my mind that I am always protected. So I don't have to just do it with the white light, but I am protected because I am always connected to that source, to that white light, and I am light, and I radiate that out, and that's my protection. So it's almost like I don't need to put protection in place, because I am my protection, but I also have an intention that I am protected. And because I have that and I play it over and over, that's gone into my subconscious mind now. So I'm constantly throughout the day doing that. And I think that that's really important. I just wanted to share that with everyone.
No, that is actually a really important point. There's actually, I've got a thing about AI songs, so I do have some on Spotify. And one of them's called The Light Within Us. And one thing that really frustrates me is when you said about the white light, a lot of spiritual people feel like they're bringing it in, but we're not. It's actually from within us, and it is there within us. Our white light is part of our soul, which is why things like I do a lot of, we need to breathe the negativity out. So during meditation, surround it by white light and send it away. And people are like, why? And I'm like, that can affect your white light. So when people sit there and they say, oh, I'm really depressed, so I'm struggling to bring my white light up, then the gods and goddesses aren't blessing me to bring my white light down, or my spirit guides must have left me. It's actually not. It's actually within you. So that white light, the reason it's struggling to come up is because your energy is not there. You've still got too much negativity within. Because our choices, this is where it's going to start getting complicated. Our choices and decisions actually make a lot of difference to our soul color.
Right.
Okay. Tell us more.
So a white lighted soul is someone that's, we don't always have to be kind. So when people sit there and they say, oh, it's because we're kind, we don't always have to be kind. We do work on being kind, so I will admit that. We also work on purity. So it's sort of like making sure that the gods are happy with our souls and the universe is happy with our choices and stuff like that. So it's sort of being a good person, but it's not being taken the mick out of, if that makes sense. And then a grey soul, I always say to people, when you think of a grey soul, think of the white lady ghost. You're full of regret, you're full of revenge, you're full of all that sort of stuff. You're full of that. And the reason why I say that is because you need to remember this also affects us in the afterlife. So how we pass on. So if we die and we're still in that grey soul mode and we haven't got enough white light, there's a chance of us getting stuck here and moping about the fact we haven't been able to do whatever it is we're regretting and stuff. And then there's our shadow men, which is black souls, which are the people we want to run away from. So I don't believe in demons. I do believe they were once upon a time people, and they were black soul people. And a lot of these are your narcissists, your I don't know how else to explain it, but you're sort of like proper toxic people, you know. And sadly what you'll find with these people is a lot of the time is they suddenly get what's called an attachment as well, so they will have a shadow person with them, because, or they can actually invent their own shadow person. So I will just say that they can actually invent their own shadow person purely because they want so much white light. So that is why you often find men and women with black souls are going from one relationship to the next. So they drain as much white light as they can out of that person. And then all of a sudden it's done and dusted and they go on to the next person to drain more white light out of them. Can you hear me getting quite emotional talking about it? It's just something that, for me, I watch and it's quite sad, especially with the tarot side. And it's like, I really encourage healing. Not just spiritual healing, like go to a Reiki person, like, or go to someone like myself that cleanses people. Because when you watch someone go dark, it's quite horrible to watch, and it's quite it's not a nice thing to sort of see, if that makes sense. So that's why you can hear me getting quite emotional, because I'm like, I've sadly seen a lot of people throughout my life where I've wanted to try and help and wanted to heal, and they've refused, type of thing. Not refused on purpose, but it's easier to give into, which I'm sure you ladies know, it's easier to give into darkness than it actually is to be light. So yeah, so they're sort of like the three ways that I see the souls. I often tell people about the fact it does affect us afterlife, because I'm like, I'm hoping that most people who possibly can go, actually, maybe I do have a darker soul, will actually go, right, I need to go heal, because you don't want to be stood in someone's corner watching them just feeding off their white light for their eternity.
Yeah.
You know?
That doesn't sound too much fun for the afterlife when it can be so much fun. Like, but that's so I feel like I want to ask this question on behalf of our audience, because I feel like this is what they're thinking. So does that mean then that if I have a grey soul or I have a black soul, can I change? Is it possible to have a white soul?
Yes, it is. So, brief about my journey. I was abused as a child, not severely, but on different forms of abuse. I was severely depressed till I was about 25. And I met a lady. I still don't know whether she was real or a spirit guide. I hold my hands up because I was in such of a bad place. And she literally went, "You're meant to be a natural white light. What are you doing?" Pulled me into a cafe. Didn't know her from Adam. And we met up at that cafe twice a week. And I learned how to change my soul myself. So not actually having anyone heal me into a white light. And that's sort of what I want to teach others. That is where I want to go. I want to teach others how they can actually heal into a white light. It is a lot more work than being a dark light. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Because I find a lot of people, that's what puts them off. Like at least meditating at least 3 times a week, a lot of visualization, going to safe places and stuff like that. So it is a lot of work because it's not just your 5-minute meditation that I do during the day. I know most people don't. It is literally your 20-minute to an hour meditation, full, as one of my clients put it, full Buddha meditation.
So then, because I find this really interesting, again, I see patterns here, and I see this is where all the crossover happens, and I love it because there's something for everybody. Because I'm going to ask you in just a second how, because you said you want to start teaching people and showing people how they can, heal their soul. And I imagine that the way that you do it is very, very similar to the way I do it, but I'm coming from a more kind of subconscious kind of mindset. I do put spirituality in there, I do. But that's kind of my way of doing it. And then your way, you're going to explain, and I'm sure we're going to see that there's very much similarities there. So tell me, like, how would you do that?
So a lot of it is meditation. So a lot of it is through meditation. One of the important things which really people don't understand is you have to get into REM. So sort of that stage in between sleep and awake. You have to get there for it to work.
You're doing the same thing, lady.
Awesome. Sorry, carry on.
It's rare to find it. It's a lot of concentrating on breathing. So bringing up your white light, breathing out the negativity, surround it with white light, send it away, and then bringing up protection to go into safe place where, for me personally, I then do divination. I don't encourage divination, just purely because if some people are prone to mental health, as you most probably know, it can cause a lot of issues to do divination and speak to spirits. So it's sort of like take them to a safe place, which then we do grounding. So we grow a tail down into Mother Gaia, and we sort of take white light from her, send dark back down. So it's a lot of spiritually sort of getting that negative energy out of us. A lot of that is the easiest way I could sort of explain it. I'm sort of sat here going, I talk people through it every day, and I'm like, how come I can't explain it when I'm not doing it?
That makes perfect sense. And honestly, that's what I do every day. I do that every day. Yeah. So it works.
Exactly. And this is the thing that people don't realize. It really does work. And as I said, I can see with both of you, you're white souled. And it's really something that I don't think people realize is just how important it is, especially mentally. I find when we've got a clear soul, mentally we can think. Like, even though I have overdrive brain, but it's more about work than anything, that I don't have that, if I don't do this, that's going to cause this, that's going to cause X, that's going to cause this. you know, that overthinking. If my daughter goes here, this could happen, that could happen, this could happen, that can happen. I don't have that side of the overthinking, because I'll just go, right, okay, if I'm feeling like that, I'll go, right, let's go meditate, let's bring up the white light, let's get out this negativity thoughts. Because as well, whereas other parents find me weird with my daughters, because they're like, how do you not want to control them? And I'm like, that's not what life's about, controlling them. You guide them. We are here as guides. We're not here to control our children. So it's sort of like, it helps all that sort of thing. So when you see parents and they're sort of trying to control their kids, make sure they don't do the same mistakes, I'm like, if you do that mistake, you deal with the consequence. You know, and I'm okay with that, because I know I've guided her along the right path. But life is about mistakes. And I think that's the difference. When you have a white soul, you're okay with mistakes. You're okay with not doing everything perfectly. That's the term I want.
I mean, go on.
Well, yeah, just you're just like speaking my language there. Everything like I went through with my two, wasn't it, Tash? And that was my journey to understand that they are not here for me to control. They are here to be who they are supposed to be. And it was all to do with that letting go. And then, you know, once I worked through that, obviously life gets better, doesn't it? So you see the proof.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. It gets so much better. And it's like, people see it as, they're really shocked when, because I home educate as well. So they're really, they're really shocked that we're not controlling. They're like, I think they expect us to be like whip masters and stuff like that. And it's like, no, my daughters can do what they want. They have internet whenever they want it. And people are really shocked at that. They're like, you know what?
Yeah.
They sleep when they want. One of my daughters my 12-year-old sometimes is up for 3-4 days on the trot. And then all of a sudden she has sleep 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I understand that's her body. That's the way her body deals with things. And then when she is sleeping properly, she has the weirdest pattern, which I actually found out is from the ancient world. So she actually sleeps 4 hours, then she's up for 8 hours, then sleeps 4 hours again, and then up. And I couldn't work it out. So I spoke to a doctor, and they went, oh, that's like the way they used to do it in medieval times.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I was like, hold on, what?
It's so strange, isn't it? And my boy's like that. He's roaming the halls, and I do think, you know, it's like he's security, like he's, you know, in that like how we would have been. You know, you probably did have short bursts of sleep, didn't you? And then you patrolled your, I don't know, your village or your domain or whatever.
This is the thing. So yeah, that is how it was back in the day. So, and it's like, my husband struggles to sleep. And that's part of a doctor. The other day we actually had a East Asian doctor, and he really shocked me, because obviously they still sort of practice all this, is the way I want to word it. And he turned around and says, oh, the reason your husband's struggling to sleep is because it's his natural thing to protect you. So because he finally slept when we weren't in the house. We went to see my nan down south for a couple of days, and he finally slept. So we were like, oh, we're back and you're not sleeping, so I'm going to take you to the doctors and figure out. And he was like, it's his primeval, is that the right word?
Yeah, like primal,
Primal, thank you, lovely. Instinct to protect you. And I was like,
sense, doesn't it?
Wow. So it's sort of like, so it's it's
gone.
It's just difficult, isn't it? Because the world isn't designed for those of us that have come in with these original, I guess, traits that we used to have. So it's us then trying to fit in with the real world, isn't it? That's the challenge.
I think as well it's getting harder myself personally, and especially to stay a white light when you've got places like, I've had to totally come off TikTok. I was doing really well on there, and I had to totally come off there because when you've got places like TikTok, Facebook isn't as dark as TikTok, but it is still dark. Instagram's actually the darkest place to be. Yeah, I find it really dark on there. And when you've got places like that are very, very sort of, the energy is very, very sort of dark, it's sort of like, well, where do we sort of fit? And I hold my hands up, this is why I've moved to YouTube, because I find YouTube is quite a light and airy place. Yeah. It's very, they've done well at keeping it quite light and airy and really nice place to be. And I think this is one of the biggest issues for us as well, is sort of like that understanding, where do we sort of not even just sit in the world with technology and understanding it, but also where do we sit in the world with people around us that are all about money, and it's a very strange place to be.
Yeah, it really is. And I think you bring up such a good point there. It's hard to be a white soul in this world. And like you said, you know, it's easier to be the darker soul because and I'll speak from the subconscious perspective as well. It is because our behaviors are all driven, our subconscious behaviors are all driven from fear, unfortunately, because of how we've evolved, and that's what we kind of needed to be doing. We needed to be on alert. We always needed to be in fear because there was a saber-toothed tiger coming to get us, or another tribe was going to come and kill us and take all our food. So as humans, unfortunately, we have been programmed with fear, but nothing good comes from fear. So then our subconscious patterns and behaviors become, you know, our normal pattern, these fear patterns. And I believe that is, I've never heard of the term white soul, grey soul, black soul before, but I totally get it. And I can see how it's those kind of primal, again, subconscious behaviors that we have been programmed with from childhood, from evolution. That's why it's easier to be a darker soul rather than a light soul, because to be a light soul, we have to counteract all those subconscious behaviors within us, all those primal evolutionary behaviors in us. And that's why it's hard, because every day you have to choose, no, I'm not going to come from fear, no, I'm going to break those subconscious patterns and I'm going to do something different. And I believe that all stems from coming from a place of love. Whatever you do, it has to come from that place of love, that place of that white light that's within you. And you have to choose every day to do that. And it's not easy. And, you know, it's a decision every day for me, and I know for you to do that. But what I will say is to not put people off and not make it seem like it's a hard task. No. You know, that's what we talk about on the podcast. It is work and you do have to put in effort, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, so
you're rewarded. You are rewarded. And it gets easier the more you do it. I think the whiter your soul becomes, perhaps the easier it is to continue that, I think. Yeah.
That is dead on. I have to say that is dead on, because it does come easier. The whiter your soul comes, the easier it comes. It's getting there. And I want to say, anyone that's going on this journey, it's not an overnight journey. So it's not like the doctors, they're going to go and give you an antidepressant and that's it, you're done. It is a years and years journey. It took me to get my soul from grey until 35. So from 25 to 35 to get my soul from a blacky grey to actually being white, it took me 10 years. And that's a lot of meditating, a lot of effort and stuff. And that's why I don't want to put people off, because I'm like, I don't want people thinking, oh, is it worth it? It's going to take me 10 years to get there. Everyone is different. That is another thing. Everyone is different. For me, there was a lot of life factors, because that's another issue. It's a lot of life factors, a lot of trying to figure out why people do stuff. Because I think when you start to become a white soul, you do want to figure out, you sort of become a bit of a people watcher, if that makes sense. You sort of sit there going, why would they do that?
Mm.
And you sort of people watch. So then when people are in your life and you're trying to figure out what they're doing, you're like, well, why would that happen? Why would they do that? So you sort of come this sort of people watch over your own life from the outside, if that makes sense. And you start, and the biggest sign of once you actually come a white cell, once you're coming into the white cell, is you'll start cutting people off.
Yeah.
You literally go, don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
I moved 150 miles away.
Yeah, we've had that a lot before as well. Yeah. Fortunately, we did have to move away, didn't we? And I think also, and I think it's not just you cut people off. I think people fall out of your life as well, don't they? Sometimes it's not a big dramatic, that person's toxic, I have to get them away. It's just they fade out because you're just not resonating.
Yeah, so I found that a lot. I found with people that I would message them less, or it would be I would see them in the in the shops and in the supermarkets and stuff, and I'll stand there and it's like, I don't actually want to be talking to you. I've got to go. See you later. Bye. And I'll be like, once I'm walking off, I'm like, why did I just say that? What? Like, because the old me would have people pleased and stood there and talked to them for ages and took on all their problems and everything else. And I was like, oh, this ain't good.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, you seem to all of a sudden just recognize also behaviors within yourself.
Oh, yeah. And that's important, isn't it?
Yeah, so one of my major expressions is actually forgive yourself and accept the darkness. One of my biggest expressions. And people are like, what does that mean? And that'd take too long to explain. I'll hold my hands up.
But it is, but it's like it's the shadow work, isn't it? I was having this conversation with my client literally the other day. You know, you have to accept all those parts of you that you feel shame for, or that you don't like, or you just want to get rid of and go away. They're part of you, and you have to accept them with love. You have to forgive them and bring them into you with love, because you will never get rid of them. They're part of you. Embrace them, and then they'll go.
Exactly. And I think that's where it's different what we're doing. Because everyone I say to me, oh, well, counselling told me I've got to forgive them. I'm like, no, we ain't going to forgive that abuser. And people are like, what? I'm like, we're going to forgive what you're blaming you were doing in that relationship. We're not forgiving that person. We're not forgetting what they did. We're not Christian. We're not doing that. They did a bad thing. We're not going to forgive that behavior. They're black. They're dark. We're going to put them to one side. But we're going to forgive the choices of a lot of people that have been through DV. I get a lot of them doing I shouldn't have stayed that long. Why didn't I walk away? We're forgiving that, them thoughts. Yeah. We're forgiving that because I'm recognising they were the problem, if that makes sense. And I think that's one of the major things people don't get.
I think people... when we talk forgiveness, I think people often always think about somebody else. Very rarely we think of forgiveness for ourselves. But I also think that self-forgiveness is the hardest thing to do, because it's hard, because sometimes, and I know from personal experience, sometimes you're like, I don't even know what I have to forgive myself for. I don't know why I'm angry at myself. I don't know the reasons. It's really, really hard. I personally think anyway. And I know working with my clients, I think they struggle to forgive themselves more than others. And I think with forgiveness for others, I think you have to be ready to forgive other people. Me personally, I believe that if you can get to forgiveness for them, not forgetting and not accepting what they've done, but forgiving them, not for them, but for you, then that's great. And that would be lovely to aim for. But I think sometimes it's too hard, it's too deep, it's too raw to say, forgive that person and then you'll be okay. I agree with you. You have to forgive yourself first. And then I think sometimes in the forgiving of yourself, you can rise above it, and then it would make it potentially easier to forgive what that other person has done, but not forget, and obviously not condone. That's a difficult conversation, because I know there's lots of emotions attached to that, and lots of people have different various opinions, and I appreciate that completely. I just think that's my personal view of how I try and work, but it's different for everyone. And I think this blanket all of just forgive everyone, just forgive and
move on. Yeah.
It's not as easy as that.
The thing is, so one of the things, I hope you don't mind, Tash, me going back to that you said, so one of the things that actually you said is sometimes you don't know where to forgive yourself. So the reason you don't know where to forgive yourself is because there's something implanted in your brain from your past that you haven't yet recognized. So there's something implanted, and this is one of the things that I actually do during energy healing. So it can be sometimes quite traumatic in some sense, because we've got to go back to that position, and that can be something as simple as a teacher went to you bloody stupid idiot, what do you think you're doing? And that can be something as simple as that. You've then done that action, you've forgot about that happened 30 years ago, completely forgot about it. But you've then done that action, got really angry with yourself, and then you're sat there going, why am I angry with myself? But that's because your inside saying to you from that 30 years ago, your inside can hear that teacher shouting at you. And this is why as well I talk about the forgiveness, because sometimes with forgiveness is it's recognition of these little things, if that makes sense.
You're speaking my language, because everyone who knows me is listening and going, that's what Tash does. It's really interesting. So I do that through hypnosis and regression. So I will take people back, and it's so funny that you say a teacher, because honestly, like I say this all the time, it's always teachers. It's always school and teachers. And I'm like, I need to go in and speak to teachers and just show them how their actions, because it's not their this is never about blame the work that I do. It's not their fault. They're humans. They don't understand. They've got their own lives going on. But I would love teachers to understand from a subconscious mindset person, hypnotherapist who deals with childhood trauma, that they have a lot more responsibility than they realize. But yeah, so no, you are absolutely you are making sense. And now I'm curious, because I know how I do that through regression, through energy work. You say you do the same thing. So how do you do that?
By soul connection. So every soul we come in contact, so now ourselves, we actually have a connection now. So we actually have a soul connection. So this is where the past life stuff comes into it as well. So basically every soul throughout life has a connection no matter what. And we have like a thread. The threads are white, grey or black that I can see them in, and sort of like, I don't mean, again, I'm with you here, Tash. I don't want to be rude to teachers when I say this. I do find a lot of teachers, the threads are black. No matter how good the student was, I find there is a lot of black threads, sadly. To be honest, I don't think a lot of teachers realise what they're doing. I don't. And the effect they have for the rest of that student's life. And this is one of the things that I sort of go through, and then I can actually connect with that while I'm connected with them, and I can actually see the memories.
Wow. So you see their memories?
Yes, I can actually see their memories. It's a bit of a weird thing. It's all done in mind's eye while we're meditating and stuff. And it's a bit of a surreal sort of thing. I hold my hands up. It's very surreal. But at the same time, it really does help people. So I will say to them, right, okay, look, you've got this memory. I'm not going to bring it up because I know it's going to cause a bit of trauma before I actually go into the energy cleansing. And I'll say to them, if I've got a memory like that, am I allowed to cut it away? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. And I actually cut it away. I then cut that person out of their energy force, which sounds really bad. But I then sever the soul line, and that's the good as well as the bad, because sometimes, and as you're healing, you find this, sometimes even people that we think they did a lot of good, so I'm going to bring them back, but they only did a little bit bad. Sometimes what we find is that bad reconnects, and we actually find ourselves going backwards rather than forwards. So it's sort of like severing these ties to their souls. And this, again, is why I believe in soulmates, but I don't believe them in the same way, because even someone from our past can come in through our soul. So they actually come in through our soul. So my husband, I've been with for the last 2 lives. My children, 2 of my children, I've been for the last like 700 years. I've been with them. And this is one of the things that, for me, people don't realize is our souls are connected, whether it's actually here or from past lives. And yeah, it can still even affect us. Even past life trauma can still affect us.
Yep.
Today.
Exactly what Tash does as well. Just like
so I do past life regression as well. It's funny, isn't it? Because you're doing the same thing, but I'm facilitating it through my clients, so they're actually seeing it, they're doing the work, and I'm the guide, but you're actually doing the work for them. So actually, go and see everything. I'm coming to you. Just cut the cords. Just get them gone, please.
It's not as easy as that. I'll hold my hands up. So we do cut the cords, and we put some people in jail because they don't want fully rid of them and stuff. So I put them in a white box jail. But some people, it's more than also about what they do afterwards. So I don't know whether you tell your clients there's a lot of work to do at home as well. Yeah. So it's a lot of, meditating, bringing up the white lights, but there's also a lot of life changes as well that people don't realize. And this isn't cutting off different people and stuff like that. It may be you're working too much. It may be that, and this isn't a dig at parents because I used to be this parent, you're sat on your phone while your child needs you. It may be
there.
We all have. We've all been there. And this is the thing, I think, judgment actually is another one. So it's like, judgment is actually one of the worst ones for your soul.
Oh, I bet.
Judging other people is worse than fear. Is actually worse than fear. So people, that darkens your soul actually a lot quicker.
I can see that. Yeah.
So it's sort of like, I try not to, I always like, I don't want people to come off as I'm judging. I'm sort of just trying to give advice on it, because that just darkens your soul so much quicker. Like, we all judge from a safety and a security position, but when it goes deeper than the safety and the security position, that's when it starts to darken the soul.
And I think as well with the judgment, because we have a lot of conversations about judgment, don't we? Do. And I think, like you said, we all make snap judgments, whether we know it or not. We do. We're human. I think the most important thing is to try and really stay aware of it, catch yourself when you do it, and then say, oh, hang on a second, that was a judgment. Let me try and zoom out of this and see it from a different way, or be more compassionate, or whatever you have to do in that moment. But I think as long as you can try and catch yourself, I think that's a really good start. And also that builds momentum, like everything, doesn't it? The more you do it, the more you catch it, the more you're aware of it, and the less you do it. And I do think that, gosh, if everybody could just become less judgmental, the world would be just such a much, much better place, wouldn't it? It would cut out so much.
And it really would. And I think this is one of the things that people don't actually realise. A lot of people don't realise how much actually judgment not just affects you, but affects everyone around you. So if you're going out, I always call them the popular girls. So if you're going out with the popular girls and they're all sat there and they're all like, oh, look at her hair. I get it quite a lot because I'm nearly 40 and I've got bright coloured hair. Mutton dressed as lamb, sort of thing. And I'm just like, yeah, and I'm 50,000 times happier than you, darling.
Yeah.
And they look at me and they're like, and I think it's the fact that judgment I know is going to go back on her because it's something silly. And I do want to say to your listeners, lovely, when I'm talking about judgment, I'm not talking about the safety judgment. So there is a difference between that and safety judgment. So things like if you hear suddenly a big bang and someone's banging at your door and you judge them because they're banging at your door at 3 o'clock at night, judge them.
Yeah. That's discernment, isn't it? That's like it's safety, common sense. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm not talking on the safety, I'm talking on the nasty, mean girl sort of vibe, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, that goes without saying.
And I think the happier you become, the less you judge.
Yeah,
definitely. Have you found that?
Yeah. It's
unhappy
that is so
people are the ones that judge, aren't they? They're not happy.
Exactly that. They're the ones that judge. They're the ones that, you know, put commentary on every single person they know's lives. And you just sit there going, I'm just getting on with my own life. I'm enjoying things. I'm enjoying connecting with people spiritually. Just carry on.
And, I think this has just been such a fascinating conversation.
Thank you so much. I love listening to...
I know, it's been really fascinating. We didn't really know what we were going to be talking about, did we? But I just think this has been brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, you're more than welcome. Thank you, ladies, for having me on.
Oh, before we go, is there anything that you would just like our listeners to know? Is there like one really important thing that you would like them to take away from this episode?
So the most important thing for me is it's okay to be you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be what they want you to be. Just be you. Even if they think you're insane with some of the stuff you're saying, and believe me, a lot of people do with what I say. Just be you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll
take that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's just been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, lovelies.
Right, guys. Well, that's it for another episode. We will see you next time. Take care. Bye.